I'd love Dale and Chris to just join me up here in the seats, and probably just want to ask them a couple of questions, and then we're literally just going to do this for 20 minutes, and then we'll do some last things. Maybe Dale, let's start with you, buddy. Okay. So I think it's been really helpful, in my mind, really helpful yesterday and today, trying to, I think, demystify a little bit this cryptocurrency space. And do you think this cryptocurrency, do you think it's for everyone? Like, should everyone do it?
You mean everybody invest in it?
Yeah. Should everybody? Well, not my granddad, he's dead, but should my dad, my 74-year-old dad, that he's set, like he's taken care of, like should I go and when you convince someone, not that I've done this, but when you convince someone to get into, say, Bitcoin, it's called orange pill. Yeah. Should I go and orange pill my dad? Or is it like, well, what do you think?
My gut answer to that is no, because we're all different and different things resonate with us. There could be a however. I do know of guys in crypto who are successful who they'll often say things like, I want to help my mum and dad, I want to pay their house off. And they want to do it themselves. But sometimes also they might take $5,000 of their dad's if they're competent, and they'll do it for them. Sure. Because it's immediate family and so on. So perhaps.
Sure. So, many years ago, not with crypto, but a guy asked me, should I get into business? And he said, let me tell you about my idea. And I said to him, hang on a sec. I don't need to know your idea yet. He goes, oh, okay. I said, I've got a question before you tell me, because he was going to try and, everyone loves their idea, right? It's the winner. I said to him, no, don't tell me about your idea at this point. I said to this guy, I said to him, tell me about your wife. And he goes, well, what do you mean? She doesn't have the idea. I got the idea. I said, no. I said, tell me about your wife. Is she a warrior, as in not Xena, warrior, as in is her disposition one of that she worries, or is she like just someone that's always the optimist? And he said to me, oh no, she's super warrior. Like she needs security. She needs security. And I said to him, so before you even tell me what the idea is, I said, you're telling me that potentially on some idea that's unproven, because he'd never been in business before, I said, because he was halfway through his career, right? I said to him, you're gonna tank a career, a stable job, what you know, and you're telling me that maybe you should get into business. And I just said to him, I wouldn't. I said, you can tell me your idea, but I'm telling you right now, no matter how good your idea is, I said, you're trying to convince the wrong guy. I said, unless your wife goes, I'll back you, I wouldn't do it. Now that, again, that was advice that was relevant to that guy at that time. I want to ask you about, again, with crypto can be pretty brutal. There's all these memes, of course, there's these memes, Chris, about stock investors. And so it's got this picture of this stock investor that's depressed and it says -5%. They take a hit, -5%. And then you got a picture of someone else and it says crypto investor, -34%, and they're just eating a sandwich. It's like, it's just another day in the market for a crypto investor, right? And it can be brutal, right? Like it's not always like that, but what about that thought of how do you overcome that, or if you're the warrior, I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I'd say even. I mean, I always say you can learn about it, but I'm not sure I'd encourage someone that doesn't have some measure of risk tolerance. It's a speculative asset, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And so it's not for the faint-hearted. That's the deal. What would be, have you got a story of your worst day? You know, it's been since your worst day in crypto.
Have you got anything to say on this subject? Okay, yeah. My worst day in crypto was we were in the States on my birthday-ish, and I had been investing in a company called Bancor. They still exist, by the way. And for a long time, I'd had my Chainlink locked up in it, but not too many, because you don't put too many assets in the one basket, even within the bigger basket of crypto. And they had, like, I don't know, 15% of my Chainlink. And then I increased it. Thought I'm going to park a lot more in there. They've been good for 2 years. As the bear market's on, this is 3 or 4 years ago, and they'll look after it because they've been safe. And I noticed some of my friends were warning against it. I thought, oh, but they've been safe for 2 years. Well, they stole, 14,000 Chainlink from me and Ethereum and other stuff, which today is worth a lot of money. I try not to think about today because I do believe the Lord has given it back to me through other assets. But I often tell people, as the Christian pastor and all, it took me 6 weeks to forgive them. I would wake up and I thought, oh, those B people. Bancor, I meant, not the other word.
Bancor,
no, I meant both.
People.
I actually meant both words. But they took this. And it was probably, it was a massive part of my assets in the bottom of that bear. And I just have to say, Lord, I choose to forgive them. It took me 6 weeks before I had lastingly forgiven them.
Yeah. Chris, I'd love to ask you this thought. You get people coming to your office all the time.
Sure.
Who can't you help? So, because, I don't know, sometimes maybe people think that the financial advisor's just going to, I don't know, be the golden goose or whatever it is. But is there anyone that comes in that because of their, who can't you help that you just, not because you don't want to, but you just go, nah, they're not. They're either looking for something that a magic pill, or has there ever been that sort of thing where you've just gone, look, or they're not going to listen to you? Well, what happens?
Yeah, sure. So actually a lot of advisors, they'll have their ideal client, what they look like. They've got to be a 6-digit income, they've got to have properties or whatever. And I thought, I didn't like that, So my view was it's just zeros, really. Yeah, and it really is. Yeah. Right. But we all have different goals and aspirations. Some people may want $2, a day to live on. Right. And some people may want $2,000 a day to live on. But remember, it's all zeros, right? So I just set up a system to help people and meet them where they're at. Yeah. But yeah, look, there are some people who don't need an advisor. In fact, if I actually do a great job, I can teach you, and you don't need me. Yeah. But remember, what's that was example about Tiger Woods? Remember him, the best golfer in the world? Why does he have 3 coaches on his team? So even if you're actually really good at it, you should have a good accountant, good planner. Yeah, you may not need to borrow money anymore, so sorry, Nathaniel. But yeah, so we can help all people, but we work with their biases, and their biases, all our biases can get in the way. Remember, we grew up in life with our mothers telling us, money is the root of all evil, Chris. Money doesn't grow on trees, so we've got to work with that. But then I try and meet people where they're at and help them overcome it. So, and a lot of us, we love property, so I encourage that. But how many people in Australia have investment properties? I think it's only, it's a small number. It's not a lot. And they only have one.
Right.
I don't want to quote the numbers. I don't know the exact number, but it's a low number.
It's a low number, yeah.
But I try and work with their biases, so I try to meet them where they're at. Or if they're really on their thermostat is set high to make money, yeah, they're generally running their own business. They're having a go. Because this stuff is, remember, it is simple. It's just not easy. Yeah.
With your client base, how many, as a rough, 20 to 30-year-olds, right? Like, in the percentage of the clients you take care of, 20, or maybe it's a bit too tight of a number, but what I'm trying to ask you is it, do young people come and are they keen to that? Or is it something that most people don't really think about when we talk about investment property? You know, as a 20-year-old, super just seems, I mean, when I was 20, I thought, you know, by the time I'm 30, I'll be old. You know, I'm 52 and I've only just grown up, you know, like so. But at 20, so when you're trying to talk to a 20-year-old about putting money in super, he's thinking, I don't know if the world will be here, you know, like, do you find that most of your clientele are slightly, like when I say north of 30, like you know, definitely the majority, or do you get a good contingency of young people? Because lots of people here have kids in that age and all the rest, and I'm sure that, you know, not only do we want to upskill ourselves, but we want to put some of this into our kids. Like, is that a minority of your clientele?
So I've had a lot of success over the years, and one of that success was I cracked the Google code. And what did that mean? It was a blessing and a curse all at the same time, in that, you know, we'd have 400 leads a month. So you meet all kind of walks of life. Yeah. And they've a lot of them, and that was back in 2011, 2012, when I understood the Google algorithm. Wow. But that's a mug's game as well. You meet a lot of clients and they shop around for $5. You know, these are the clients what I want on my books. Not really. But yeah, we do a lot of intergenerational wealth planning. So a lot of our clients, our retirees, they've done well. They've got a lot of money. They can't spend it. Yeah, and I encourage them. There's an old English saying: "A warm hand is better than a cold hand." So I encourage my retiree clients to start working out a plan of how to gift the next generation.
Right.
Yeah, and then we get the kids involved. Well, let's say a young couple. You know, you're still paying the mortgage. And, you know, the kids are getting gifts. They're getting their, you know, they get money from their grandparents. What do you do with that money? Do you go and put it in a term deposit? No, that's burying it, right? Mm-hmm. So what do? We go and buy some ETFs. Yeah? Yeah. So you start teaching them we want to teach them good disciplines and principles to go and buy businesses. And we want them to see they get that dividend income.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that help?
Yeah, that's awesome. So now that we've taken a little bit of time to demystify to some... when I first started to watch and listen to crypto, you know, YouTube, X, all the rest, I got to tell you, Dale, you know, for the first 3 months, I just thought these people were speaking in tongues. I'd watch a video and I was like, I think I know less. You know, like, and then I was like, I remember I worked for a multinational company and I worked in the head office I was seconded to the head office for a month. And so in the office next to me was all the programmers, all these high-level Indian guys, just like really high-level guys. And then I worked in this, we were in the sort of the HR change management division. And my job was to take this heavy tech that we were introducing. This was radical back at that time. We were introducing voice technology that was going to interface with this data center that was going to then drive a logistics company. And so I'm the guy that's got to take what we're building here and somehow it's got to make sense to a blue-collar unionised worker whose second language is English, right? And I remember we'd figure out something wasn't working on the floor, so we'd go to the data guys and we'd say to them, hey, how hard would it be to just tweak this one thing? And what would normally happen is the data guy would then talk for 5 minutes about dash, dot, dash, dot, dot, dot. And initially I'd just sort of look at them, and then when they finish talking, I'd go, oh, thanks, and walk away and do nothing, because I'd be like, I got no idea what he said, but I didn't want to seem stupid, you know. And then eventually I was like, oh, that's not a winning strategy, because I wasn't getting the thing fixed. And so then I'd have to stop the guy and I'd have to say to him, dude, I got no idea what you're saying. Could you, I said to him, presume I'm an idiot. Now talk to me. Like, you know, but this is the intimidation. There's an intimidation around new things, new technology. I think you mentioned it about, imagine thinking back at DOS and thinking about Gmail or someone trying to explain an Excel Word spreadsheet to you, or, I mean, where, okay, so, and I said yesterday, I don't tell people to buy crypto or to buy Bitcoin. I say to people, if they say, should I get into it? I say, well, no, well, I think, should I buy it? I say to them, well, I think you should learn something about it. So where would you say, if it's like, oh, well, you've piqued some curiosity here, where I mean, besides your Facebook channel, like besides that, absolutely, but where else do you send people? Have you got a book that you recommend they might read, or what happens there?
I'm probably not going to be much help with this. I mean, beyond my Facebook page, which isn't even necessarily designed anymore to teach the basics, like what exchange and how to open a wallet and all that stuff. I more comment on the big picture of crypto so that people can try to discern roughly where the top of the cycle is so we can sell. That's what I dedicate most of my time to. So somebody else asked me this specific question in the break, and I'm not much help. There are books out there that are helpful, but crypto is such a fast-changing space that by the time they get them printed, they're irrelevant in some levels. Yeah. There is a book it comes into my mind, called The Bitcoin Standard, that I haven't read, but I think from all intentional purposes that's helpful. There is a guy I know who lives in Melbourne who has written a book on crypto a few years ago. I've forgotten his name, someone Fletcher.
Not Chris Casher?
No, not yet. That's coming out in 2027, after the pullback, and he's got time to write that book.
Okay.
So I can tell you what I do, which takes time. So I used to learn about crypto from Facebook and from Reddit, and not so much YouTube, and that's where I got my information the first year or two. Then I started hearing whispers, and 4chan, which I don't advise you go to. That's a black sort of dodgy site. But where Chainlink was most promoted in 4chan. And so you end up hearing about that thing. If you don't know what it is, don't look it up. There's a lot of evil on it. But anyway, then I got the picture that if you wanted to know more about crypto, not just Chainlink, but the wider space, the cutting edge place to be is on Twitter.
Twitter, yeah.
And so I went to Twitter to learn about Chainlink, and that's where I met other Chainlinkers. And we organically connected just through us saying stuff, oh, you're into it too, and we formed a community. And the community was about 50 original gangster Chainlink guys who had a similar mindset. And so we all got together, and there was a lot of banter, a lot of excitement, because they were all excited as I was earlier today, but most of them know way more than I do and still do. Yeah. And so I still to this day rely on their expertise and their insight, but it was a long journey to go through to work out who to listen to and who not to. Yeah. Then we started forming sub-chat groups when we'd invest in something else. And who wants in on this one? And the guys that were interested would go. And we went through this process. Now I'm not really in any of those groups. But something practically that you could do if you wanted to go to X, Twitter, is if you wanted to follow me, and it's in the QR thing, you won't find my name. I go under a pseudonym, because most of us are like some cartoon animal with a weird name or something. And I picked one from a cartoon strip when I was a kid, because we don't want to be known. We used to say we don't want the guys with ski masks and electric drills showing up and looking at our kneecaps. Yeah. And it's legit. There's one of the cold storage things we talked about earlier in the day, the Ledger thing, the co-founder of that, just a few weeks ago, was taken captive. They chopped his finger off, sent it back. Yeah. Because there are people who made obscene amounts of money. Yeah. Sorry, this is going on too long. But if you want to, you find out my Twitter account. This is a starting way. Follow who I follow, and then cull it over time. Yeah. Drop off the ones that are unhelpful, add the ones you find helpful. Yeah. But it's a long process. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a disciplined guy. I have a commitment to personal development, have now since I was 21 years old, of a minimum of 10 hours a week, 2 hours a day of personal development. That's reading books, seminars, podcasts, all that thing. And it's served me well. You know, it's 31 years later and it's 15,500 hours of knowledge bank. And for the last 4 years, since I've been involved in crypto investing, I commit 2 of those hours a week. It's pretty good. Like doesn't have to be all in one block, like, you know, half an hour, this and that. And so in 4 years, 50 weeks a year, it's 100 hours. So it just means that it's a good discipline for me. I stay relevant in it. I'm up to date. You know, it doesn't consume my life. I'm not retired on it. You know, I didn't buy Chainlink at 30 cents. I bought it at $20. So, you know, no, I actually bought it a little bit less than that, but it's good now. So it's, you know, doing well. Awesome. Hey, thank you, Dale. I just want to say again, you know, when I reached out to Dale to come and speak on this, you know, like it's, you know, it's tough enough speaking about crypto because, especially in Australia, like I think Australia is behind the ball, behind the game here as far as crypto reform. And there was actually when Scott Morrison's government was in play, there was a paper, a 12-point kind of paper presented at Parliament around crypto. And it was good. It was just trying to get the ball rolling as far as regulation, understanding this and that. And there was an indication that the Liberal government was going to begin to walk down that path. But when Labor came in, they took a very opposite stance to it and just mothballed that, as did the Biden administration in the States. And the Biden administration for 4 years went to war against all the crypto blockchain space and just, was really brutal with it. Obviously, with whether you like or don't like Trump, nevertheless, this administration, as soon as they came in, which was one of their policies, one of their promises, have unlocked a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm not quite sure in Australia. I think Australia will follow slowly, very slowly. I think we're much more conservative here. And I think we have a very different banking system and much more robust. And so I think there's a slower burn into that. But so I say that to say, Dale, I just want to say thank you for you know, coming, presenting on a topic that, you know, I laughed yesterday, you know, when we asked how many were in crypto. Like, we're all like this secret community, half the room's in crypto. Just nobody wants to tell anybody else that they are, you know. But thank you for your presentation. I think it's really helpful. I think I want to say to you in front of everyone, felt like you did it with wisdom and you didn't oversell it. We weren't selling anything, but I felt like you presented a great landscape, and I think it gives people some, if that are interested in pursuing it more, a pathway to just kind of, okay, figure this out. And for those that don't want to pursue it, that's fine, but they've actually heard a presentation that's not just about scams and, you know, all of that sort of stuff. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you.
Thanks, boys. Thank you.